Good morning. I want to be mindful of everyone's time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And let me go ahead and just put this in presenter view. Well, that didn't work out well. All right. So my name is Candice Terrazas, and I am a MAPS life coach. My husband and I have a real estate business my husband's been licensed for 20 years this month, and I partnered with him down the road. And, one of the things that we have learned in our business, and I'm sure many of you are on here because you can relate, is that we go through cycles of where it becomes challenging to prioritize your health. For me, that has looked like when it's busy, you start eating a little bit more conveniently, or another day passing by that you didn't get in the gym. And what we have found is that when you have some pieces in place, just like we work out systems in our business, you are more likely to be able to stay consistent in your health goals. And so that's exactly what we're talking about today. We are going to be covering, hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, we're going to be covering accountability and health goals. And this isn't just in terms of your physical fitness. This is also how can we have tools in place so that we can be better at managing stress. I don't know how you would perceive this, but that's another challenge is we get into those moments of where we are induced stressed and we don't realize it until we're in it, and we go into reactive mode. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So how we can have spots covered. I am so sorry. I'm having problems with I can either see the Zoom or I can see the presentation. So excuse me if you guys if you're in the chat box, I'll be checking it frequently. So just a little bit about me. I am a competitive bodybuilder and I am 43 years old. So do not limit age to the condition of your health. I will say on the contrary, when I had started to incorporate systems and accountability, I realized that age worked in my favor, because we can have the discipline, we can have these structured tools that we put into place, and then it becomes a benefit not just in your health and wellness goals, but I saw it to translate into my business goals. I realized that when you have the level of accountability required to achieve your health and wellness goals, that is the same level of commitment and discipline that you can transfer over into your business. And so it is a very big passion of mine to help people get on a health journey, because 9 times out of 10, they are going to see it translate into their business and elevate their business goals and their performance. So that is a passion. I love coaching around helping people get to peak performance, whether that is in their health and wellness goals or in their business. So we all have long-term health goals. Hopefully that's the reason why you set goals for this year. It's because not because you just wanted to accomplish it for 2025, but because you wanted to accomplish a goal that would help be sustainable for the rest of your life. And it's no secret that a lot of people go into physical fitness with their goals of at the beginning of the year, but it is often something that's lacking is mental wellness being a goal that's put into place. So we can put, oh, we want to lose weight, or we're going to gain muscle. I want to be consistent into the gym, or I'm going to, lose X amount of pounds. But what we're not putting into place more than often is I want to prioritize my mental wellness. I want to go into this year being able to pivot no matter what challenges come my way, reduce stress, improve sleep, and fostering mindfulness. And so this is good. We're going to spend some time today focusing on this. I do like this to be an open session, so if you have questions throughout, please feel free to ask. I'm going to check the chat box and just make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So we all know that making the goals isn't the problem. It's the key challenge is accountability. Setting goals, we can set them, and it's how do we make them stick? Accountability is crucial for success. That's why KW is so big with coaching and accountability and training, because we recognize that when you're in high level accountability, you are more than likely to attain your goals. And that is the actual definition of accountability. It's the obligation to account for one's actions and goals. And you see, accountability isn't just about your external checks, like, hey, how are you doing? Tell me what's going on. But it's also having a personal reason why you're setting those goals. Because if there isn't a deep enough why as to why you're setting that goal, more than often not only will the accountability fade, but the goal becomes irrelevant. I have a little saying that I tell people on the things that really matter. If your why doesn't make you cry, it's probably not big enough. And it's been true for me, and it's been true for the people that I get to partner with, that we have to have a deep and profound why. What is the reason why you want to get healthier? What would it make a difference in your life if you had systems in place that kept you for the rest of your life healthier? And when we get to that level of commitment as to this is the reason why I need to do this, having that accountability becomes such a strong knit connection. It encourages consistency in your workouts, it encourages your healthy habits, and overall will provide the motivation that we all need. I can say without a doubt that 100% of people are not always motivated, no matter what you're trying to go after. We can go through those spurts or those bursts of high level energy and motivation, but what happens when the motivation isn't there? How do we make sure that those tasks and goals still stay in alignment with our habits, that they're matching what we're trying to achieve? So why nobody goes into setting a goal with the intention of not completing it? Nobody does, right? Like, we all go into the goals with a good intention, but what are the common reasons why we often uh, fall short in our goals? And setbacks are inevitable, but they just don't define your journey. When we have a setback, it's like, what do I need to change, or what do I need in place so that I can help me get back on track? And inconsistent motivation that we just talked about, people often start, but then they lose the momentum. And this is where accountability can become a good metric to help you stay in alignment with your goals. The lack of support. Fitness can be very isolating without a community or mentor. I mean, if you're in group fitness, that's, you have a community. But if you're in a goal that is not in group fitness, I'm a bodybuilder, so I train by myself, or with a trainer. And so what's going to keep me accountable to these goals? And having unclear goals or lack of progress, again, without accountability, it's easy to drift without clear direction. So knowing right now, I would spend some time, if you have, like, the next 20 seconds, writing down what accountability do you have today around your health and fitness goals and around your mental wellness goals. And just jot down. And if you don't have anything or anyone, then that's okay, because by the end of our time today, my hope is that you know exactly what you need, be it an external tool or an internal tool that would work for you, because we're all wired differently. And hopefully you'll have something practical that you can immediately start applying to help you stay accountable to your goals. And the biggest thing for me that I tell people is, let's focus on resilience and adaptation rather than perfection. In our industry of, top performing, high level, high energy, a lot of type A's, one of the challenges is that perfection becomes the goal, and we do it subconsciously. And when it doesn't go exactly the way we want it, we either want to throw in the towel or we want to do something totally different instead of getting back on track. And so if we shift the goal to being resilience and adaptation as opposed to perfection, it'll be easier for you to have a positive mindset getting back on track. Now, accountability tools can be different. You don't have to do both external and internal accountability tools. Some people do both. Some people find what works better. Having digital tools work because they help for consistency. They offer reminders for the social aspect of it. A lot of times they have that shareable progress for social accountability. So these are all, areas that can help you stay on track. Now, when we talk about being self-accountable, I like to give people that I partner with the 80-20 rule. If we can have plans and systems in place, give you an actual plan where 80% of the time you are adhering, it gives you the flexibility of that 20%, that one day that, all your listing appointments, went a little bit long, you stayed out at the office longer, counting for that 20%, taking a client out to dinner, giving you that flexibility. But if we have a plan in place and we get the 80% right, you are still going to be well on your way to being able to achieve your goals. From the cultivating your self accountability, we know SMART goals are a proven way to help you become successful. Having specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound goals. This is what can help you be accountable to yourself. Having daily habits, creating habits that reinforce accountability. Self-reflection, this is a big one. And I feel like if everybody took some time to actually journal or reflect on what's working and not working, we'd be able to come out of problems a lot quicker. Just gaining an awareness around your motivation that day, what came up for you that, that could have possibly hindered your motivation to adhere to your goals. And really just, looking at what reminders do I need in place? Do I work with calendar blocking? Do I need someone physically texting me? Is it an alarm or something that needs to come up so that I can adhere to my goals? I think choosing the right method is really important, and you don't have to have both, but whether your external or internal accountability is in place, you definitely need to find something that's suitable for you. Does anybody want to share what tools you currently use to help you stay accountable? I know, like for me, my watch is fairly new. I never wanted to be bound to a watch, but it has been a very helpful tool for me to be able to track my workouts, to be able to track my steps. What else do you guys use that is currently helping you? Let's see, a Fitbit. And if you have anything else, I know MyFitnessPal is something that a lot of people that I work with use for their health and nutrition, and just gaining a good idea of what exactly their consumption is like. And I think also that's the other thing I wanted to share is, having the right partner or coach. I feel like if you are looking for someone that is going to help you reach your goals, they have to share your genuine supportive goals with you. If they have different views on what your life looks like, or on, what seems attainable for you, it may not be the right match. So having the right partner or coach, because I, do competitive bodybuilding, for me, I've had to transition to a coach that, I want to go to the next level, who's going to hold me to a higher standard, to a higher level of accountability, to make sure I'm doing the things that I should be doing. Weekly progress pictures, if that's something that, even if you don't do it with a coach, like take pictures every single week. It is a game changer, because you sometimes feel like you're not progressing, or, oh, I messed up and I ate terrible last week. But when you start looking at the big picture and you see overall how far you've come, it is so encouraging and keeps you to on track to be able to stay accountable to your goals. So use the technology, leverage the apps and digital platforms to help you keep accountable. There's even now, on Facebook, there's Facebook groups or group challenges that you can join that can help you with accountability. So right now, I want you to take a minute to write down 3 goals that you currently have, and think about how you could create an accountability system that seems sustainable for you. So you put, I'm on a group challenge with my family. We've been doing this for over 2 years. Oh, wow, that's phenomenal. We text each other after every workout. We take a selfie at the gym or after a run. We usually get 3 to 4 workouts a week. Wow, what a healthy family habit to have. For me, a lot of it is like more one-on-one. I don't I do have, like that accountability with my coach, I feel like has been a big one for me. In past years, I wouldn't have a coach in my off seasons because I felt like, oh, I got this. I'm not going to pay for a coach until I'm on prep and I need that higher level of accountability. And it's interesting because my perspective has shifted. It's almost the other way around. Mentally, if I think that I have more room for error, or I can, there's more flexibility, I'll just manage myself. It gives yourself permission to not be highly accountable and do things that are going to get you off track. And so having a coach these last 7, 8 months that I've been in an off season, I'm like, this is the first year I'm seeing significant progress. And I think a lot of that is because of that level of accountability that I have. When, on the outside looking in, I shouldn't have to have it. I'm not as strict. I have a little bit more leniency, but I'm aware that I'm sending him weekly progress pictures. And it does scientifically proven to help when you have an external source monitoring or helping you stay accountable. And I'm sorry you guys can see my whole screen. I don't know why. When I put it in presenter view, I can't see the Zoom, so I have to choose to either do the Zoom or do the presentation. It's never given me this problem. So we talked a bit about tech tools. This is again for physical fitness, wearing the wearables, like I said, the watch, the Fitbit, any kind of, monitor that checks your heart rate. But also too for mental wellness, like what apps are you using? What tools are you taking advantage of to make sure you're incorporating mental wellness? And it is such a challenge because the nature of our industry, we are just go, go, go. And it's like when work is done, we're like still going, going, going with our kids and activities. And it can feel like it's never ending. But guys, I just want to gently and lovingly say we all deserve 5 to 10 minutes a day to be intentional about our mental health. And if that looks like breathing techniques for you, if it looks like prayer, for some of you, it's meditation, then why is it not scheduled in your calendar? What would 5 to 10 minutes of clearing your thoughts, gaining composure, just feeling at peace, no matter what we're navigating, no matter what we're challenged with, that we can come to, and get that oxygen in and just come together and just, okay, now I'm ready to tackle on the day. And so if you're not already using apps, I do like Headspace and actually use these with my kids for breathing techniques and just to when they're like, I can't fall asleep, I help them to start self-regulating. And these tools work for anyone. Journaling is also really great for a lot of people. I know when I've been in health and wellness for a long, long time. Even before I was competitive bodybuilding, I was really competitive in the gym. And so I used to do a food journal. And this is back when I was in college, because I realized that I picked up unhealthy habits with my perspective towards food. And so for me, and this is very common because I coach around it a lot, is people tend to crave things that are not nourishing late at night. And that was for me the situation when I had high stress days. At night is when I was like, oh, I want, I can be disciplined all day. And then I would go to the pantry and want carbs and sugars and things that were not nourishing. And once I started journaling it, I correlated that it was always on my high stress days or when I didn't have enough nourishment in my body that day, if I didn't prioritize my protein. And so, I'm not super I am very cautious in my perspective towards food and the way my language towards food, especially because I have a little girl. So I do, as a competitive bodybuilder, when I'm on prep, of course, I have to be strict, but when I'm not, and I even tell people, even when I'm being strict, it's for one day. This is not sustainable and this is not healthy long term. This is just for one day. So, just managing our thoughts. Where are our thoughts going that we're craving sugars, or how much are we giving ourselves permission to give in just because we feel like it? I always, I tell my kids or my family, just because you crave it doesn't mean you eat it. It's okay to crave it, but just stop, take a deep breath. Am I just hungry? Am I thirsty? Do I just want a bite of it? Do I have the self-control to just take a bite of it? I'm not super duper strict with my kids, but I want them to gain awareness around health and wellness. So I will tell them, before you go to the pantry and pick out a snack, I want you to go get some protein, whether that's, like a chomps stick, yogurt, Greek yogurt, or just a piece of cheese, something that has a little bit more nourishment than actual real food, before they put in the empty calories. And I think this is a big thing for all of us, is just gaining awareness around our emotions and how it's tied to food. I see here somebody, but I started keeping a food diary a month ago and can see the patterns so I can slowly change it. Absolutely. Once we identify the patterns, then we realize what can I do? I see somebody put I ate two chocolate ice cream bars. So and that was likely from stress, right? Because one not in the it makes sense like you satisfied the craving, but going for two, it was probably likely that you were stressed. And in the media, that raises food can raise your serotonin and dopamine levels, but when it's at a high level of sugar and non-nourishing ingredients, then we come down and have a very low. And so that's the challenge. It's very tricky because we think that we're satisfying the feeling that we want, yet it ends up doing the reverse when you have the crash. So just being cautious with that, and having what metrics can I have into place. I shared on a call yesterday how, for me, before I go out to eat, I will have like a protein shake because I still want flexibility to be able to go out to eat with a family dinner or with friends and, have flexibility around it. But if I prioritize my nutrition, before I leave the house, having, 30 grams of protein for me, then I know that I won't overeat and I won't overconsume anything that is probably, decadent. And so, just prioritizing things like that, I think helps you just have a plan in place. The other thing is the power of visualization. Um, I think for some people that are very visual, maybe for you it's having a spreadsheet or having graphics or charts to track your progress. A lot of these apps will correlate like your progress in a chart, and that's visually helpful for people to see like, okay, I can see the trajectory of my health patterns. And the other thing is celebrating milestones. Like we are in the nature of a lot of us is to be so hard on ourselves when we don't get it in or when we didn't do enough. What would it look like if we shifted our perspectives and started to celebrate what we did get accomplished? Like I didn't get to work out, the hour that I had time blocks, but I showed up, or I moved my body for 15 minutes, or I went on a walk while I called a friend. Getting 10,000 steps in a day is actually not hard. If you did, 20 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes during your lunch break, I call it a creative break. If you have a creative block, 15 to 20 minutes in the afternoon, and then again, another 15 minutes at night, walking, making a conversation with a friend or somebody that you're trying to catch up with. It will hit so many different points. It'll be helpful on so many levels. Plus, you'll be getting your exercise in. And then the daily check-ins. This doesn't work for me. I feel like daily would be a little too much. But if you're at the beginning of your health journey, this is going to be actually something that would be really helpful because it just gets you on track to start incorporating what you want to eventually be a habit. For me, the weekly check-ins are enough. I realize when I'm like totally off track or, have been way too flexible that my check-in is going to come with some kind of story behind it. And then there's times that, when I'm checking in and I feel so proud that I recognize that, gosh, these are now becoming habits because life was crazy and I was still able to get all my meals in. And that has been a helpful thing to be able to monitor. I think the reality is that we're all going to have setbacks. It's inevitable. I think it's just more having a plan in place. How do I overcome them? A physical fitness setback is one, like if you actually injure yourself, or perhaps you missed a workout due to having a busy week, or maybe you missed a whole week of workouts. The biggest thing that you can do to help you overcome that setback is just adapting with lower impact workouts. When you come back to it, be gentle with your body. Maybe go walking or take yoga classes until you're finally back on track. For stress reduction setback, and this is also something really common, and I know my husband sees this probably more than the physical fitness setback, but if you don't have time to meditate, start by just adjusting, with 5 minutes a day. Again, putting those 5 minutes, if you put an alarm so that every day, 5 minutes, it goes off so you can have some kind of like, hey, breathe, a simple reminder, breathe, take 3 deep box breaths. That can help you to gradually increase as it becomes a habit. And then just reframing your mindset, viewing these setbacks as learning experiences as opposed to failures. Be cautious of your words. I hear it so often when people say, gosh, I'm so dumb, or I can't believe I did that, or I made a mistake. And we vocalize something negative that your brain hears, and it can become a pattern. It can become a genuine belief. So instead, you know what? I didn't get to work out today, but tomorrow's a new day and I have it allotted for this time. Like being cautious of what you're speaking, having a positive outlook towards your health goals is going to help you adhere to the habits. And just asking yourself, what can I learn and how can I adjust from that wild week? Being kind to yourself. Perfection is not the goal again. The consistency is. So, when you don't get it down perfect, remember, you know what? That's not the goal anyway. And revisiting your goals. The reality is sometimes we just have to adjust them. You don't have to cancel them altogether. It's just like, okay, I had an aggressive goal to lose 30 pounds. I'm halfway through the year and we haven't even hit one. So I'm going to adjust it. What would it look like if my goal was to lose 10 by the end of the year? And just giving yourself permission to pivot. And then breaking down goals. I think this is another big one because sometimes we have these aggressive goals, and even with accountability in place, if it's not happening fast enough, for women, the big thing that I love to like help women adjust their goals in is instead of a weight number, what would it look like in a size that you want to wear, or in the feeling that you want to have? Because weight is, I mean, your weight can fluctuate up to 7 pounds every single day. If you weigh yourself at a different time of month for women, when you're on your cycle, I mean, you cannot gain and lose fat in one day, 7 pounds in one day. It's literally water retention. So it is such a sticky area to track, actual measurable progress, because it's not indicative to if you're really losing fat or gaining fat necessarily. So for women, especially if you have an unhealthy relationship with the number and you're just tied to like, gosh, back in college I was 130 pounds. Well, one, you're not in college, and two, that might actually not be your best you. Right now, I weigh more I made as much as I weighed when I went into the hospital with my firstborn son, and I can genuinely say I am more confident in my body today and my physique than I was before having kids with as a skinny 130-year-old or 100 no, 125-pound-year-old. So the scale, toss it if it's going to give you stress. Um, okay, that's the disclaimer. And then just seeking support. This is a big one, to not hesitate asking for help. Talk to someone who understands your challenges. If you are going through something that you just like, I'm in a funk, I can't get out of it, who can you consult with that's going to help you, get back on track, encourage you, maybe give you some tools. And this, we're early in the year, we're in January, so you're likely not at that place yet, but having a plan in advance will help you to be able to overcome, when it does happen, when it does come. Because if you go through this whole year not seeking support, I find it very hard to believe that it's because you've nailed it down 100% in perfection. It's likely because something was keeping you from reaching out and talking to someone, either that fear of failure or that perfectionism. And so really having a plan in place, if these goals don't go the way I want them to, if something happens along the way, whether I lose my motivation or life happens, and who can I go to that's going to help me gain perspective to get, to either get back on track or help me pivot and readjust my goals. If I were to get a second chance at life, I probably would be a neuroscientist, because I geek out on all the science and data around our mindset towards health and wellness and fitness. And I feel like it's so powerful when we understand that, there is actual science behind accountability. This isn't just a hoorah, like, yay, everybody knows accountability is good, but there's actual data that supports why accountability is so important. Coaches and trainers and, anybody that you hire to help you stay accountable to health and wellness goals are going to provide so much more than knowledge. While that's important, they provide a sense of responsibility. When people hire me as their coach, there is a level of responsibility that I take on to help them accomplish those goals, to structure a plan that fits your needs, to give you constructive feedback, to give you the motivation when you need it, to offer emotional support, and even celebrate the small wins that you were being hard on yourself to not celebrate. So there is some powerful tools to hiring a place. I think it helps you see the blind spots and close the gaps that you aren't even aware are there, or maybe you are. The psychological effects of accountability. It's the concept of commitment devices, as they call it. It's how setting up accountability structures increases the likelihood of success. And then with the research findings show that individuals who have regular check-ins with a trainer or accountability partner are more likely to succeed in their goals. And the neuroscience of accountability is how knowing someone is tracking you can increase the motivation and adherence. Now, this kind of goes back to my example of how when with my coach, knowing I send him my check-in pictures in a bathing suit every Tuesday. Now how's that for accountability? Like I cannot go to town with my food all day, every day and not miss a bunch of workouts and send those pictures in peace. So for me, those progress pictures are definitely a big part in helping increase my adherence to stick to my goals. And to wrap it up, this kind of just comes back to what we have said throughout this is it's accountability thrives on regular ongoing effort. So, this is something that we know that we need. It's who do I need? It changes from the what to the who. Who is it that I need in my life that's going to help me stay accountable to these goals that I have? We do it in business. Why are we not doing it in our health and our wellness goals? And it comes when you get it from external sources like coaches, maybe it's your partner, maybe you have a gym buddy, that can work. Or maybe it's cultivated internally, like we said with the SMART goals, have goal setting, having your digital devices that help you. And so, just knowing that it's going to actually be what boosts motivation, keeps you on track, and help you overcome obstacles. And then lastly, your transparency, changing your language around your limitations, because how you view your circumstances absolutely shapes the speed to your potential. I think sharing your struggles and your victories keeps the process very honest. It helps you stay flexible, and it helps you be able to stay adaptable, if you needed to change the plan. And so I want to, as we wrap up, I want to open the floor to questions, and also just, what are some ways that you feel that your fitness goals, around your fitness goals, that you can incorporate accountability in your routine? Like, what do you currently have that that is working, and what is missing? What is it that that you need to?
Uh, I- Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can hear you. Yeah, feel free to share.
Okay, thank you, Candice. My name is Guillermo Sagún. I'm a productivity coach and a dual agent. I'm sorry, dual licensee in Texas and Florida, doing business in Houston and Miami. And yesterday, I was very lucky to be in your market center in City Views doing the Spanish mastermind, which Adriana Rodriguez here invited me.
Yeah.
Sorry I missed you. I would have wanted to meet you and your husband, but I mean, next time. Um,
Yes.
Good proximity, 2 hour only drive. So I'm also part of the national leadership of KW Chispa and co-founder of KW Soccer. So we're in the wellness world all together. And I'm here because, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving us all this information. I wrote many of those apps about the mindset because, like you say, there's so many apps about tracking fitness, but I didn't know about those apps about tracking mindset and um, I don't know, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question. So when I go work out, I take a pre-workout from 365 from Whole Foods. And I read it and it says that it has a little bit of creatine. I don't know how much. And to be honest, I'm not counting. I do feel that it helps me perform better at the gym. But here's something mentally that I'm sure that you can help me with. The moment that I run out of it, the day that I don't have it in my that I don't have it with me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go because I'm not gonna be able to the same. So that's something mindset, right? The question is there something that I can replace it with that I have at home? I don't know, like a espresso shot, or what would you recommend so I don't use that as a cheat day? Like, yeah, because I don't have it, I'm not gonna go.
So this is a two-part answer. I feel like one, there's not obviously like a placebo effect, right? Like if you know mentally that you are needing a supplement to go. So I would one go down. Is it the caffeine? The creatine, I'm going to talk separate too, because I feel like it's an absolute critical component to progress in muscle strength and bone strength. People think creatine and they think bodybuilder and a bunch of buff people, but almost everyone can benefit from creatine. Especially even women as we're getting older, and I feel like all people can benefit, even if you don't train in the gym every day. So I would almost recommend, of course, consult with your doctor. I am not a physician. I have to disclose that here on this call. That that 5 grams of a monohydrate creatine, the type of creatine is really important. So monohydrate creatine, the brand doesn't really matter. They're all the same. You pay more because somebody spends more on marketing. That's the reality. But when it comes to creatine, monohydrate's the most important. You don't need to get worry too much about the brand. And then the second part is when you take that supplement, I'm guessing there is some there's probably some caffeine in that supplement, in the Whole Foods vitamin. And there may be something that is a vasodilator. That's what gives people the pump or the blood flow into your body. And so it may not be that specific a supplement, but what is it about your workout that you're like? Is it that you feel focused? You get mind muscle connection? Do you like the energy you have? Are you getting a big pump and you're seeing your veins? Like, what is it that you're liking about it? And that can narrow down what ingredient you like about that supplement, so that if you don't want to continue buying that supplement or you don't have it, maybe it's buying that specific thing. Even like when in terms of vasodilators or getting that pump, you can go the natural route. They sell like beet powder and spinach, and a lot of that has is naturally helps your body get the blood flowing, which helps your workout, getting the blood flowing. I do take a pre-workout with a vasodilator, so it's not like the supernatural form. I also take beet powder and spinach root because that does help too. But I'm a bodybuilder, so I do love, like, I get super hyped when my veins pop out and I have this big old pump. I'm like, let's go, lifting heavier. So, but yeah, I think that it comes down to that ingredient. If it's the caffeine, see how many milligrams caffeine it has. If it's like 70 or 100, then a cup of espresso will absolutely work in replacement. But if it's, an intense pre-workout with like 200 or 300 milligrams of caffeine, you likely need another pre-workout.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, Marty, creatine is a game changer. Don't be scared of it. There's so many benefits. They outweigh almost any concerns that you might have. No, a lot of times when I talk to people, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get bulky. And I'm like, I promise you, you would have to try super duper hard for a lot of years to get bulky, super intentionally. What are the things are you all doing to help you stay on track to your fitness goals?
Hey, Kenny, I wanted to share on one that is the one that I had started is tracking my sleep. For me, I guess also like performance the next day is good, but I was also checking like deep sleep, REM, how much of that I'm having. I'm being a little bit more cautious of not going to sleep late or trying to avoid having alcohol before going to sleep, as because now I can see like where it's less deep sleep or REM on that. And not just for like the immediate, but the genetics, like with my mom dealing with dementia at a very early age. Some of the things that we're doing are not just for the now. A lot of these things are also for 20, 30 years from now that we're doing, like the mindfulness, the walking around. A lot of these other things are not just for the immediate. Yes, it's great to see your before and afters and things like that, but it's investing in the things that we can't, and it's also have this apps to track these things. So I just wanted to share on that.
Yeah, that's super good. I think, knowledge is power. When you know better, if you wake up, if you slept a full night, but you wake up still feeling tired, it's worth getting a tool or device that's tracking your actual rest. Because a lot of times that's how like sleep apnea develops. You're just going hours and hours and hours of not going into those REM cycles. And that's a big, I think this is another presentation, but stress is absolutely correlated to your fitness. If your body prioritizes what it needs in the now. So if you are under high level stress, your body doesn't know the difference between it actually happening and you think it's happening. So it prioritizes that first before it goes into the recovery of your muscles. So if you're spending time in the gym and you are doing all the things but you're not seeing progress, your body is going first to target the immediate. So if we don't take the stress, if we don't put tools into place to really help us manage our stress, it does impact your rest. And then also too, when you're not sleeping well, that's also when we start having those cravings and our diet goes off track. Because if you're not well rested, your brain wants that dopamine hit, that serotonin fix, and so you crave the sugars, you crave the junk food. So yeah, they all like are totally linked together. I know working out for me is a big stress reliever, but I also have to be mindful that if I am so stressed, then I'm doing myself a disservice at my body actually prioritizing recovery of my muscle growth and everything that I'm, doing to stress my body out in the gym. Does anybody else want to share? When you jotted down your goals, was there anything that came up for you that you realized you don't have any accountability or systems around?
Candice, so my sisters and I told you we're on a fitness app, a fitness challenge, and we've been on it for a good while. It really works well for us. But we are all aging, and so we say, has anybody else noticed that it is so hard to maintain muscle? Like what we used to do, it's funny because my workouts are getting um not wimpier, but I don't do CrossFit. I don't do hard running anymore like I used to. And I used to love it, but now my knees kill me. So I do bar and Pilates. But it is taking longer to tone, or I can get toned, but never like hardcore firm. And I know it's because I'm not using the weights, heavy weights. But it's like, where's my balance? Do I want my joints to ache all day long? Or do I just, so
So
I've kind of gotten happy with the skinny, mushy self, which I just have to say, but at least your heart healthy. I don't know.
yes. So I feel like you're saying I have to either do this extreme or that extreme. CrossFit and running is very hard on your body. Even a young 20-year-old, I wouldn't recommend getting into it because it does impact you long term. The high jumping onto your knees, in the CrossFit. So I feel like, I mean, so what you're doing is incredible. Like I commend you for being consistent. That's so good for your body. And if what you're looking for is muscle, you do have to challenge the muscle with weight. So even if you incorporate it like 2 gym days where with a workout plan where you are lifting weights and little by little challenging yourself. Okay, last week I did it with 10 pounds. I'm going to go up to 12 pounds. The only way for you to get muscle tone is to grow muscle. All toned bodies are, when people say, I don't want to get bulky, I just want to get toned. Well, you cannot tone without muscle. So you need to put on muscle so that when you peel down the fat, that you're toned. That's what makes a toned body. And so that only way to grow muscle is to, one, challenge the muscle weight that challenge the weight that you're lifting. So I think 2 or 3 gym days a week where you're actually lifting weights and having a plan. It doesn't have to be CrossFit extreme. I personally don't like CrossFit. Also too, and this is like no judgment against anyone, I also don't like the physique of CrossFitters. You're very boxy, and I personally, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm trying to sculpt out a body that I don't naturally have. So for me, that's not for me. But all that to say, and then also your diet. If you are, which you have, a high level stress job, so there's probably a lot of days that you're going without eating and skipping meals or doing liquid meals. And the reality is, if you're not nourishing your body well, it cannot grow. You cannot grow muscles. You have to feed the muscle. I have alarms on my phone, and now I don't really need them because I like, it's so funny. Even if I'm not hungry, I feel it in my stomach when I need to eat. So I do eat 5 times a day. And of course, my goals are a lot more aggressive. But if you do say, like, hey, that's saying summer bodies are made in the winter, like now is the good time. I am going to prioritize, at least 3 meals a day and give myself permission on the other two, whether it's, or maybe it's not 5 meals a day. Maybe it is just, I normally eat once or twice a day. Now I'm going to prioritize having 3, and just these little steps. If you have something already in your office, like and I always prefer food over protein shakes, but the reality is it's not as easily accessible. Like even if you have your food there, I know you, Sonia, you won't make the time to go heat it up and all that stuff. If you're not hungry and you're busy, it's easier to just put it off. So having things that are accessible to you to prioritize the protein, because you are putting in the work, you are going every day to do Pilates. So if you're not feeding yourself well, you're in a deficit, and you cannot grow muscle in a deficit to get toned.
Thank you.
And Candy, wanted to add on that, on the not retaining muscle. I'm 49 years old, and like if um, I can go into the gym, but yeah, it gets harder. It is harder putting on the muscle or keeping it. So I think, yeah, the importance of creatine is also very, very important. But even researching if peptides is for somebody, especially if we're getting older, higher in age. Those are things that have been, a game changer for me to look into. And there's multiple, even for people that have problems with knees or shoulders, and also get the other benefits of retaining and even putting on lean muscle. But that would be like a doctor situation, to check your labs and see if you're a candidate in that.
Yeah. My
What did
my
what was it?
doctor, peptide therapy. There's all
Peptide.
types of peptides, and we need to be cautious that we're not like recommending any specific, but we can share what we're on or what we're doing. Yeah, and my girl, she's amazing. You book her online, and then she consults with you. She sends you to do blood work and everything. She's more holistic minded, which I love, but she also was a previous bodybuilder. She's a pro, so she understands like the importance of the things the goals that we have in our fitness journey, but she prioritizes our health. Like we're not going to do it at all costs. Like we need to make sure your blood levels are here. And for me, the peptide therapy has actually been very helpful, because as we do get older, and you can learn about peptides all over the place. I mean, there's every podcast now is talking about, about peptide therapy. I know, what's his name? Milet. Ed Milet, advocates for it. And I just, as we get older, it does become harder for our bodies to do what it used to do. And so I think that it's been helpful. But I want to thank you all so much for taking the time to be on here. And as always, if you have any questions, this area is my jam. Gives me great passion to help people set aggressive goals. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. But thank you so much for being here. And I hope you connect to be on the next one. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.